Boom. All right. So let's say that you end up getting a rare Loki. I don't know which one's rare. I think let's just say it's this one, right? There might be like 10 or 20 of them. Might end up going up to $20,000. Should you sell it? It depends. It all depends. Like all the answer to that, it depends on you, because realistically, whether or not you sell it or not is irrelevant. I personally would sell it because at the end of the day, I'm more in terms of like basic comics that aren't going to cost a lot. I'm less, but I'll always take advantage of the moment, right? And right now, Marvel is hot, Disney is hot. You don't know when it's going to end up going, not when it's going to be not, right? Like if you get a secret rare and there's only 600 and it goes up to like $20,000-$30,000, you sell it, because at the end of the day, if you're not, especially if you're not interested in comics, if you're not interested in sports, interested in comics, interested in any of that, and you're in this space and you happen to pull any of these rare or anything like this, you sell it. But if you're into this stuff, then there's no value to anything, right? Like there's no value to comic books except for what the people see. So you might see this and be like, oh, I'm taking a part of history here. So you could be selling it for $20,000 right now, but this is all speculative, mind you. Like, but let's say, for instance, inflation kicks in and 20, 30, 40, 50 years, let's just say 50 years from now, VV is like a whole new thing. And all of a sudden, these first editions that all dropped on VV, this is now worth $1 million. Now, it's pretty irrelevant for an investor of what's worth, because when you look at it, if this is worth $20,000 now or $1 million later, right? You take that $20,000 and apply it and put it into another investment, right? So as long as for me, when I look at it, whenever I'm selling something because it's going to another investment. I'm building my investment portfolio. So it's houses, it's crypto, it's real, it's that type of stuff versus, oh, I want to hold on to this comic book because comic book's not going to pay for anything, right? So this is how you can get that perceived value. Like I got, like, for instance, like I like liquidity pools, like that stuff, because it pays out on a regular basis. There comes a point where the liquidity pool pays you on a passive income, right? I have one liquidity pool that pays me within, I think I put a couple ETH, I put some crypto in it, and it's paying me out some crypto back. It's 2.25% on a weekly basis. So it pays that on a weekly basis out compounded. That's 10% every single week. And then what happens is that it just keeps on compounding up. I did the math. I was like, wow, there'll be, let's just use it like, if I was to put one ETH in, it would be in 4 years, it'd give me back 100. It made sense because I have a long-term vision. The price of Ethereum right now, let's go look and see what's happening. The price of Ethereum right now is $2,000. This price is irrelevant to me, right? And I'm gonna get into the charts because at the end of the day, I'm gonna talk about Bitcoin, what that's doing, because it's messy. But I really want to hammer that home in terms of like looking at cryptocurrency. You gotta look at cryptocurrency from that long-term perspective and not that like short-term perspective. The short-term perspective is if you bought this at $9 at $2,000, you sell that thing. But there's also a long-term perspective. Let's say you bought it at $9, it's now sitting at $2,000. Yes, you sell some, but now you can put some into liquidity pools and start earning back ETH. Now that ETH might go up and down, it might fluctuate, but now you have a timeline. Like when what Andre was saying was perfect. When you have a goal, it's not a goal till you have like a time, right? And so like if you guys don't know, like my background, I've had 17 years of personal training and like health coach and all that stuff, and like I've done goal setting with everyone. So like when I always talk to people about their personal goals, it's always like people always tell me about their weight loss goals and nutrition goals and all stuff, but they have no timeline. So automatically, as soon as someone tells me that they have some sort of goal, they have no timeline attached to that goal, then that's not a real goal, right? That's a wish. That's like I hope, right? So when you're looking at like, let's say Bitcoin right now, and you're like, okay, I bought Bitcoin at $69,000. It's at $39,000 right now. What do I do? Okay. There's only two choices you really have. You cut your losses or you hold. It's realistically those are only two choices, right? By cutting your losses, what you're saying is I'm gonna hold this 50% return, this 50% loss, and go somewhere else. But the point of the investment was because you saw the risk. $69,000 was a risk. The risk at $69,000 was that the market just dropped back down. And it doesn't matter who tells you what or where, that's still the risk that you take, right? But this is where dollar cost averaging comes in. So DCA, BTC. So like, and for you guys that don't know, anyone that's new, this is how you want to, like, if you're ever in the market and this happens in the market where we're now in this place where the market's kind of in a lull, this is just a great site to go to, okay? So let's say, for instance, you bought Bitcoin. I'm gonna give you, and you bought it on a weekly basis, $10, starting December 17th. So from the top of the last market, okay? And the reason why I'm gonna give you the top of the last market, because that would have been the stupidest time to buy Bitcoin. Like that was the time where you're like, oh, I can't believe I bought it at that. Why did I do that? Right? And people were saying that, like, oh, I dropped down to 3,000, my stomach. Oh, December 17th. Okay. So December 17th, 2017, accumulate, I think it's 6 years. Oh, $10. Okay. Right now, if you just, and so now this is how you can understand this. Okay. $10 a week, total invested $2,000, 6 years, right? You have 13 grand. Now, did you lose money buying, or did you make money buying? You made money buying, right? That's $10 a week. Now it's up it a bit. We all have jobs here. We all make money, right? $100 a week. $100 a week in Bitcoin for 6 years is six figures right now, right? You only put in, but see, the thing is that takes discipline. And the issue with a lot of people is that when you put $100 in here, you lost more than 50% of it right here a year later. And you were like, I'm so dumb. Why am I still investing into it? But then look what happens next, right? You might be tempted to sell it here, but like you have to have that long-term vision. So what's your long-term vision when it comes down to this? So this is roughly, you would have roughly about like 2.25 Bitcoins right now, and you would only pay $21,000 for it. Like, it's irrelevant in terms of, that's what I mean, it's irrelevant in terms of the price, because the people who hold on to it. All right. When you look at it, it's like who has Bitcoin? And so like, this is like a question I always ask myself: who has Bitcoin? And these are the questions and thoughts that I have, because it kind of keeps you in a perspective of like, what exactly is this thing, and who owns it? Who else has it, right? Who accepts Bitcoin? Let's just go here. Who are the top 5 Bitcoin millionaires? Why not? Top 5 Bitcoin millionaires: Sam Bankman-Fried, whoever that is, Tyler and Cameron Winklevoss. If you don't know who they are, watch The Social Network. If you know what Facebook and Meta, they're in that movie, but they're not just that movie. They were part of that whole beginning phases of Facebook. Barry Silbert, Brian Armstrong, Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor you guys should know who he is. If you don't, it's from MicroStrategy. He's constantly bought the dip. These are the 5 top people, crypto millionaires, right? And and when they say millionaires, they're actually billionaires, right? And when you start looking at it, it's like, damn, like you start realizing these guys have money in it. And here you are with $100 a week talking about, oh man, I lost everything. These guys have millions of dollars in this market. So you're in the right place because you're with the money. But the issue is that there's such a high volatility. I call it like a bucking bronco, right? And if you guys ever seen a bull run, like in Spain, not like the crypto, you watch it. What ends up happening is everyone starts running, and everyone's running because they don't want to get hit by the bull. When a bull starts running, you generally just watch it. And like everyone, it's a spectacle, right? We aren't there yet. And so we are in this place where you could have started investing back there. Yeah, even like here. Imagine here, you have 135,000 and you could have sold it. and no one would have said anything. I mean, you started off like it only took you $21,000 and you made 100K. And if you sold it and then bought back here, I mean, you just doubled up on your money by the time I got back here. And realistically, this would be sitting at almost $200,000. But here's the crazy thing. Even if you didn't do that, you'd be sitting with almost 250, 260, almost $300,000 by the time it got back up here. And that's still doing $100 a day, $100 a week, right? And this is what's crazy. So let's go daily. And now let's bring it to how much you spend on coffee, going to Starbucks. Forget Starbucks for 5 years, right? So this is daily on a specific date. So you'd have $46,000 and you would only spend $76,000. Let's say you eat out every single day, $20, right? $20 a day, $185,000. So anyone that tells me that they can't afford Bitcoin, what it actually means. So anyone that ever tells you that, they're lacking long-term perspective of how investing works. It's not about being able to buy the full Bitcoin, right? And you might be looking at it's like, oh, but it's $30,000 right now. So what am I supposed to do? Start somewhere, because how high do you think it's gonna go, right? And that's kind of how you make your thought process. If you think it's only going to go to 60,000, then it is the wrong place for you to invest. But if you have an idea of that it might go to $1 million, what's $30,000 to $1 million? What's $40,000 to $1 million? It means nothing right now. Add 2 more zeros and then you're there, right? You just made 6 figures off of doing the same thing, because no matter what, it's not even about the price it's about that percentage. So as soon as it goes up, guess what? You're still buying Bitcoin at the bottom. So it's irrelevant where you're buying it. So this is more for the investment people, so you guys can understand, like, none of this is financial advice, but understanding from an investment perspective how this is going to work and how you can actually be able to make money off of it long term. All right, let's take a look at the charts. So BTC is kind of it's an interesting place. I dropped this chart the other day, and I was saying what I was looking for is I was looking for the market to hold this position here. And at first I was looking for the market to hold this position here at the 382. And you can see where it's kind of like, you can kind of see where it is. It's well, I guess it is having trouble, but like it's hitting these areas that are on the fib points, right? So let's go from a 2-week time frame. Let's get out of this one and start up from the top. I had a coin I was looking at, but it's really risky. So, and it's already up 30%. So I will not be talking about it because it was hella risky. When I was looking at it, there's only $1 million in it, and then 2 million on TVL. So I was like, oh, not what you want to pass on to people. Right. Let's see something here. Boom, boom. All right, so let's go look at this where we are at. Let's look at a high time frame. We'll go to the weekly. Boom. It's on logarithmic. It's on logarithmic. Okay, so we got this double top happening. Everyone's talking about that. That seems to be the area that everyone's concerned about. But there is something that is really concerning that everyone should be paying attention to. It's whatever is happening in Russia and Ukraine is kind of the thing that's scaring people in the market right now. And that you have to really pay attention to that, because that's technically can become what's known as a black swan event. Black swan events are what cause markets to crash. So like when the COVID dip happened, that was a black swan event. So the market acted irregular here, because technically when you look at the market, it shouldn't have dropped so hard. So it was very irregular. So at any point this can happen. And generally speaking, like there wasn't as much on the line, but you can see where they wanted to pull it. So like even if the event happened and you could have sold everything up there, but no one knows when a black swan event's happening. So like selling wasn't the obvious thing to do because it was holding the 60%. So the moment it did this on a weekly was when you're like, ugh, I gotta get out. But then you're playing that game of like timing the market versus timing the market. So as an investor, it's not the best thing. As a trader, there was a lot of trades to make. And so you have to understand, like when Swipecoin calls a trade, they're calling trades, right? So it's intraday trades. Most of those guys are all intraday, unless it's a Picasso trade, which is like on the 4 hour and looking for a swing, but most of it is all intraday. So you're in and out in a day, right? So, and there's a lot of times where you just move your stop loss to break even. Oh man, but Bitcoin's really volatile. What am I supposed to do? That's trading Bitcoin. Like sometimes it leaves, and they're not going to say it leaves without you, because it never really leaves without you. It always comes back. So even if you miss this section right here, it came back for you, right? Like that last down candle, whoop, came down for it. All right, so we'll start from the high time frames and work our way down. So on a weekly level, we can see that there's this key area that we had as an area of support. So we hit this 886, right? So right now, if I'm looking at this, I'm looking at this to make, like, start walking its way back up. Like, I'm not looking for it to start making its way down further. Can it make its way down further? Of course, it can do whatever the heck it wants. It's irrelevant to me whether it goes up or down. But at this point right now, if this is the low, I'm looking for this to go up. If it breaks this low, then we're breaking this whole thing. And now you're really looking towards the bottoms, right? So are these still in play? Yep. These are still in play. These areas are still in play until the market makes a substantial move to the upside, right? And like these are more, like, for me, like this is just knowing that it's there is good to know, because like if it ends up getting there, cool. But I'm not looking for it to go down there. Like at this point, I have a bias that we're going up. But that's my bias. And at the end of the day, the market doesn't do what I want to do. It does it does whatever it wants. I have no control over it. Okay, so now we go down to the daily. We can see some more price action. We can see on the 50 moving average how the market came above, retested higher low, and then really failed and then came down lower. So generally speaking, there's two ways you can look at that. One is that it's looking to collect orders, right? Because now we're talking about localized liquidity versus we're talking about localized liquidity versus we're talking about internal liquidity, right? This is all internal liquidity, and this is all external liquidity down here. But it's more depending on the time frame, because it's still all internal, because the move is like this is the beginning of the move, this is the top of the move. So all this is internal liquidity, so is all this, but we're still in like high time frames, right? So like they're talking about a daily. So for me, I'm looking at this, and we still have liquidity here. So let's put this here. We actually took this out, this gap. See that? That's where we stopped. Clear imbalance. Boom. Boom. So we still got money. A lot of money going upwards. And also here. In fact, like there's actually probably even more money here, because the fact that there would have been money that was here that never got taken out, like just right here, like because this is realistically right here, right? And so what I'm looking at right now is stop losses, right? When you have equal levels, these equal highs are all stop losses, because traders are looking for selling, right? The selling pressure. Like you'll have people that are trend line traders trade at that. Boom, here's a trend. So like there's two things that people can be looking at. There's this factor of it broke the trend, and now it could come back and retest the trend and can continue up. But generally speaking, based off of where we're at, you wouldn't be looking, like you could be looking for that, because it could still go down and still work its way up, right? But generally speaking, because this is an 886, this would be the move that you're looking for it to continue walking up, but it can still work its way down. Doesn't mean it's going to hit there, but it can mean that it hits that trend and there's like an over under connection on it. But I'm really not looking for that on this. I'm really looking for this to start making its move up. A couple things that I'm looking, the reason why, and I talked about this, interest rates are my big thing that I pay attention to. These are the interest rates for the last couple, since 2020. They're sitting down at 0.25. So I'm looking for, they're going to start raising interest rates again. So the real question is, are they going to raise it to a point where it starts making its way up, like, and making new highs? Because if we break this 1.62 and 2.26 interest, like my speculation in terms of the next point of interest would be on the high time frames, which would be getting us up to here, the 8. But before that, I'd be looking for, because this is 50% right here. So before that, so I draw fibs on trend on the on this too, because for me, like, these are like, if you like, the cool thing about trading and investing and learning how to read charts is that you get to, it's not like you get to know the future, but you get to smell and smarter amongst your friends. Because when you're saying there's a potential interest in get to 4.6 or 4.7, they're gonna be like, how do you know that? It's like 4.75 or 4%. How do you know it's gonna get up there? I have a hunch, right? Because it could just make this new all-time high. And if it starts making this new all-time high, it's surpassing 2%. And the speculation is that they're gonna give 50 basis points, which 50 basis points brings us from 0.025 to 0.75. Why does that matter for Bitcoin? Okay. So for Bitcoin, the reason why that matters, this is a totally different chart. The reason why that matters is because Bitcoin is an asset that people are spending money on, right? There it is. So because people are spending money on it, people are like utilizing money, people are borrowing money to put into these assets. Like, this is what people are doing. So at the end of the day, if the interest rates start going up, that means they got to pay back their loans. So therefore, Bitcoin can only stay as high as this. So if this starts going higher, then eventually that has to make its way down. Now, the correlation that I've done in terms of researching this is that it doesn't, like, everything doesn't start crashing until we get to the top. So there is going to be a correlation of us reaching like a top and markets coming down and crashing. Because while it's still doing this, people don't really care. Once it solidifies, now it's like businesses are realizing, oh, okay, we now owe money. Let's pay a giant part of our loan back. And that's when it stays for like a couple months. And people are paying back their loans. They're not taking any sort of risk. But imagine now that you're a business from 2006 June to July of 2007. You're not really doing any sort of high risk or maneuvers. You're not borrowing any money. You're not doing anything really for a solid year. But you've paid back your loans. You're sitting on cash and waiting for opportunities. And there it comes. March of 2009. Literally 2007, 1 year later, you have opportunity, right? And that's kind of like, this is why, like, you want to take profit often and have money in USDT sitting on the sideline for when there's an opportunity. Like, and this is where I was talking about, like, you need to have this long-term vision of as an investor of how you're going to do this, right? Are you here for a couple days? Like, this is going to be forever growing. So if it is going to be forever growing, it's better for you to be one of those people that are thinking, oh, this is an emerging market where I'm forever going to be making money off of it. So let me take some profit, put it on the sideline, and wait for the rainy day of whatever happens next, right? Imagine how many times you could have did that all up here and bought any of this. And based off speculation, like I said, this is still plausible. Like, this isn't out of the ordinary, because yes, we took out this local liquidity, but this is where we have to go for us to be like, oh yeah, we're going up, right? Even down to like the fib point, right? So let's use the fibs. Use the fibs, Luke. So even when you use the fibs, the one area that I look at that I know I see as a big kind of thing that never happened is we never really got to this 47,000 level, which would have been a 382. I would have loved to see that relationship on the Fibonacci for me to be like, okay, cool, we rejected. So this is also why I think we're going down, because going up, because this is where I would much rather see it fail from, not like kind of get close and then go down. And this is more because this is called me, I guess, call me more of a technical analysis, or like, let me wait and see it. Like, I want to see these trends. I want to see this. Like, I want to see interaction with the number versus get close. Because oftentimes when it gets close, that's not the truth. It always comes back and claps it. So like, if we're going to reject right here. Like, that's the first place of rejection, right? And if we can't get past here, yeah, then like this, so me saying that's going to go up is irrelevant, because if we can't get past here, then you're looking towards these low numbers, right? And that can coincide with US interest rates going up March 16th, which is like right around the corner, right? And the next place in terms of areas that I'm looking at is right here. So this area right here is known as the golden pocket. If we can't make our price peak above here, that's another area that you can look to go down with, right? And then the last area that you're really looking at, and the big one, is this 786, 886. But realistically, for me, if we can make it up here, based off of price action, I'm not looking for it to actually reject off of here. I'm looking for it to kind of do a little rejection and come back up and then go. But like, I'm not looking for it. Like, this would be a premium level, but at that point, it would be a failure for a new all-time high. And at that point, yeah, you can look for it to go down. But what you'd have to like expect it to do on that side. So I'll show you what you'd be looking at if it was to reject off any of these levels. So like, for instance, boom. So let's say we come here, come down, we start turning around, we blow into there, make a new high here. And then let's say we get into here. If we start making our way down, that's cool. If we make a lower high, so we fail to make a new high, and we start walking our way down, right? If we break this again, like that's the sign number one. If we can't break that, that's sign number two. And at this point, there's a good chance that we just break all that. So like, you don't want to see, this is the bearish scenario, which is still bullish because of the numbers that we're playing around with, but it's bearish because at the end of the day, that means we're really coming down to really test these levels and bring us into the bearish cycle of Bitcoin, right? We're not there yet. We're not in the bearish cycle yet. And it's kind of weird to me to say that because people, like, for anyone that got started here, so November, and you're experiencing this, and you're like, oh my gosh, we're in a bear market. You're not. You're not. This was a bear market. And length of time of all this was from the time that we hit our low. So the time we hit under 10,000, let's say, and we stayed below 10,000 was 500 days. That was about 935 days that we were around $7,000 to $10,000. And we either made a bit higher or made a bit lower, but we were in this pocket for a very long time, right? And this is kind of like, this is still consolidating market, right? So I'll show you, like when you see, like, think about all this like accumulation, even though it's a distribution, like this was distribution here, but think about like all accumulation, right? So like from this point here, let me do this. So from, yeah, I'll take that, to, let's say, this point right here, all this was all accumulating, right? And do you see something about this? What do you see? It's in a box, right? Look how we come back, close below, but look what happens automatically. We come and test and then go. We come back, close below, and then come back, come brown, start making a high, start making another high, and then we test, and we go. Come back, we test here, we broke out here, you came back and tested, came back, and you go on lower time frames, you'll see this test and then went, right? These areas in the market, these numbers, these prices, like, it's not one or two times that it hits it, it's a bunch of times, right? There's no coincidence that we hit an 886, and that's what I mean by I'm looking for the market to get to these levels and turn around. And this is one confirmation of many confirmations for me to believe that, okay, there's a good chance we might turn around here. All right. So now when we're looking up here, this is why I was looking for it to turn around and start making that high. So going down lower, 4 hours. So as we go into the 4 hours, we kind of start seeing what's happening here. This area right over here, which was a form of resistance, I am looking for this to be support. right? Now, the reason why, because it only makes sense. Like you're looking for some sort of area where the market's going to start turning around. And if this is it, cool. If it's not, cool. It's pretty irrelevant for me what ends up happening, because I'm not emotional about this market at all. And I say this from like the most like non like biased point of view. Like I'm just like, if it goes down, it goes down. If it goes up, it goes up. I make money no matter what by trading it. But what I'd much rather it go up, because it's a better feeling. But the markets aren't about feelings anyways. It's like, this is where I mean by the irrelevance of it. But let's now look at it in terms of this from here to up here, and look at the fib to see if there's any correlations. So we got the fib out here. Let's grab the 50%. So you can see that we're right in the middle of the box. So here's a question. Could we come into here, sweep this, and then come back up? Yep. So is this area really safe? Nope. I can go down the lower time frames and you'll see higher lows being made, but this area is still not safe until we make our way past here, right? Once you make our way past here, now this area is safe, because then if it starts breaking down zones, you can at least move your stop loss. Like you should have moved your stop loss already if you were playing this to like here, 38.6. If it starts playing around there, there's a good chance to come down to 37 and then come back up. But like I said, the reason why you're looking for this area to show you some sort of like support at this point is because this was resistance, right? So even if it breaks this, you're looking for it to show some sort of support here. And then from here, start walking its way back up. So this is all on a daily. So you can see we broke here. And so what I'd be looking for, this is why I'm looking for it to come back above, because now you can see why. There's a last down candle here. So if it's going to go down, I'm looking for the interaction here, because or else this is just a gap. And if it's a gap in the market, if it ends like this tomorrow and we're just like kind of chilling around here, then this will come up to here. And if it goes down, more things to tell you that, ooh, it might go down further. But you can see in terms of what I'm talking about. Like trading's all ifs, ands, and buts. Like it might do this, it might do that. We'll see. All right, so like you can see here, this is an area of support. So like, and it all makes sense once I complete. Like you'll start seeing like, oh, when you go into lower time frames, you're like, oh, I see what's happening here. But these are all fib points, remember. So all these fib points on the way up are areas of support and resistance. Isn't that interesting? That's how it happens. So this area was a 382 on the fib when we marked it up, right? And the market came right there and it was former support, right? And now it turned into resistance. So the reason why you're looking for this area right here to become some sort of support is because it's the same reason why you look for this to be support. Because the reason why you look for it to be support is because it was an area of resistance. So you're looking, once you pass it, you're looking for some sort of area that you can say we can turn around, right? And this is why this was a trade that was actually a good area to trade off of, but kind of failed to get past here. So now at this point here, we're regrouping and collecting orders. And if this is where it's going to turn around, that's dope. Let's hope it does. Because then it should smash through here, because this is now an area of resistance, but it shouldn't be anymore because this is the top area. So now we got to smash through there, especially if this is a bullish scenario. So now making our way up, next place, you can see here is this. If I was to start narrowing this down even more, you can see this area. This was more of the 618, right? Because this was 50% 618. This would be more of the 618. This is an area that is support. So it's going to be resistance. And every single time you want to see it smash through these areas, right? So see that? This was the area of support. And this is the first reason why you are now in this place where you're like, okay, cool. This area right here, if we couldn't make our way past this area when we were here and we just started making our way down, at that point, you can say, ooh, we're probably going to go there, right? That's just how, like, understanding the way the markets move is a big thing. So like, it's not market geometry. This is just understanding like analysis, like what's happening, right? An area that was support should always become should be resistance once you surpass it. And if you surpass it and come back up, then regain support at that point. What do you think you're looking for to happen here? You're looking for it to regain support. So now, let us digress. So now when you look at all this and go back in, well, ain't that interesting? It's a 382. So like in this, see the correlations of what's happening here? And you can start seeing it from all these different angles. You're like, huh. So this is what I mean by I'm looking for fib points. And you can see in here, this fib point made no real sense. Like this 50% 618 was just realistically a pocket because the market had trouble going up past here. And then didn't really hold support here ever. So you can see it never really messed around with support here, except for here, but never came back and tested. So if this was the breakout, you're looking for the test. And so now if we hold this level, hold the line, then we're good to go for the next move up. Break, and it, like in order for what we're looking for, if we're looking bullish, it needs to break out of 46. And your next point, next area is right here, 53, 54. And taking it one zone at a time, that's what you're looking for, right? So at first we're looking from this zone to this zone. Had you like agreed and said, like, I'm looking at a bullish scenario to turn off the 886, this was worth 12,000 pips to you, right? So if you're agreeing in terms of this, that's going to turn around somewhere here. This is also worth about 15, 16,000 pips. So you're really looking for the market to turn around at some point, playing out the bullish scenario. But if you play out the bearish scenario, right, and let's just say it starts just moving its way down, so be it, on a pip level, it's 12,000 pips down. That's what I mean. It doesn't matter whether it goes up or down. There's still a lot of pips to be made in terms of the distance it has to travel. So this is why, like, for Bitcoin particularly, I'm holding this idea of I'm bullish right now, but if it goes bearish, then I'm selling this thing down. So like, so a couple signs that I'm looking for bearish scenarios is can't break back above the 50 EMA here, which happens to be the same area that was support. Like there's a lot of, it's funny how it's almost like a play. And as price action's going, it's all coming together. And it's like, is it going to make this price or is it not? It's such Bitcoin is so emotional and so dramatic that it's like you see it, you can make a play rate with this thing. Like it's like it saw the 50-day and bounced off of it. And now it's coming back and who knows what it's going to do, right? Is it going to find support here, or is it going to turn around and it's going to be rejected, right? It's either a support rejection. So when we look at this level is very key for me. And so it's the same thing for like ETH. So like when you look at Ethereum, sorry, I just saw the VIX. The VIX is rather high. If we end up breaking this 40, that's another indicator that we're going down like further. If we break this 40 on the VIX. So just look at VIX and this 40 to 50 level. If we break that, well, it's a good time to buy because you're already too late to sell. you're like at that point, you've already lost. So you might as well just take your real money and start buying more because that's opportunity. But you can see with ETH, same thing on this weekly level, right? We have an imbalance here, came back, filled the imbalance here, right? Didn't come back to this last down candle. So is there a chance it can come back there? Yeah, because ETH and Bitcoin aren't the same. So like Bitcoin is the heartbeat of the market. Ethereum is not. Ethereum can come back down here and Bitcoin can continue going up because that's just how it runs, right? But generally speaking, if Bitcoin's going up, this should correlate with it and continue going up. So what we're looking for here is it's pretty much the same thing. It kind of came in the middle of the zone and started making its way up and started like that's a 7. So now it's 71. So now you're looking for it to continue up. right? ETH. Let's go down to the daily. You see the exact same thing forming, right? And all you're doing is you're making a case for it to go up. So from here, let's use from here to here. So if we are going to make our way up, well, looking at what we have here, it's 50% 618. Isn't that funny, right? It's just like when you look at this market, it becomes less and less like, what's the right word? It's not fun anymore, especially when you start knowing what you're looking for. It's not funny anymore. All right, so now you look at it and here's your 50% 618. What do you do with this information? Well, you can just be patient and wait for it to close above here, right? Because there's a lot of liquidity towards the upside. And once it breaks this point right here, then we are going for the next point. Same thing as we climb. So like it would be right here around 36. And then you're looking for this to form the support. So if we are going to make our way up, this could be one of those areas, right, where you're looking at it, it comes back down and then goes up. So like this right here. So like from here, February 26th, makes its way up, starts making its way down. I'm going to give you a 50% 618. Look what happens next. And so when you're looking at the market, you never know what's going to happen next. But all you can do is you can look at how does price move, right? Well, you can see it, 50% 618. So what you're looking for is this move. This is the beginning of this move for the entire crypto market, really. So looking at the total market cap for you guys, because that's realistically what we really want to pay attention to. And let's see, can't get rid of everything because I've marked up everything here. So this is the 50% 618 here. We're really looking for this to start making its way up. I was really looking for the market to kind of do nothing from here to here. All right, so now getting rid of this, don't need it anymore. Getting rid of this, don't need it anymore. And now looking at where it is. So bounced off the 786, now at the 72, and you're looking for it to go up, right? So always the same thing. So now if I extend this to 2020, which was the beginning of the bull market, right? We go all the way back to here. And I'm just looking at it. This is a 50%. So you can see like the correlations of like you're looking for this to make the new high and start walking its way up. All right. And so now this kind of coincides with like the total market cap. I'm looking for Bitcoin to make its way up. I'm looking for crypto to make its way up because we hit the 78, we're now at 70. So it's either we're coming down for that 886, which will bring us at 1.34 thousand trillion, or we're coming back up. Now you can see that a lot of decisions are all made. Like here is an area that was from a resistance and turned into support. It's like you're gonna see this over and over and over again in this market. It's all over the place. So that's what I mean, where you're not really looking for it to start breaking down under. You're looking for it to continue working its way up and breaking through resistances. Cardano. Now, Cardano is a coin that I've been with for a while, and this area that we're currently in is definitely not an area that anyone likes to be in, because like it's either do or die. It's in this area of like, is it going to go up, or is it just going to continue working its way down? And it's making a wedge. You see it? It's a falling wedge or channel. So if we continue going down this channel, right? If we hit the next low, it will bring us right into here, 80 cents. Now, depending on what you believe in terms of Cardano, if it breaks this, this is a big drop, right? And depending on how you feel about it, it's either you're going to see it as that's worth it to buy it, or you might be like, yeah, it's not worth it. To me, I would be looking at this. For me personally, if the market goes back up, then this goes back up. Like the entire market is all waiting for Bitcoin to really do something. And if Bitcoin doesn't do anything, then the entire market's just kind of like twiddling its thumbs, waiting, right? Like this is an 886. Comp is at a really good place. And Mike Sotero actually dropped this on Swipecoin. And so you might be looking at this like, why would I buy this right now? Because you are in crypto works a bit differently than Forex and other pairs. It will turn around, come low, and give you like 90%, 99%, and then go. Right. So you might be looking at this and be like, why would I buy this? Because it is technically in the box. Now, is it safer to buy it up at 172? Yeah, so much safer. That's 886. And plus, it would have solidified its bottom here, come back up, solidify something here. That's safer. But like this is like no guts, no glory at the end of the day. Like if you're like if that was to ever tell you to buy crypto, right? Which I don't tell anyone to buy crypto, but when I first got in, I didn't know how to read charts at all, and there was no one telling me what to buy or when to buy or what to look at. So I just bought. So like for me, if I take it back to the basics, comp at $119, $117 is pretty good because it was like low here is 82, and that's November 20th. So it's been pretty high for the most part. So it's at one point $1,000. So the question is, do you believe that at this price, it will head back up here? If you don't, then avoid it like the plague. If you do, it's time to buy. Polkadot, same thing, right? At this local level here, and Polkadot's at a great place, 886, 786. It doesn't get any better than that. So this is a Web3 project that's built. That's a layer one solution. You're right in the buying area. Do you buy it or not? That's up to you. My goal is just to show you like where like these are blue chip projects. Actually, you should just go to top 10, top 5. These are blue chip projects, and these are all in great areas. All right, let's take a look at Link. So I'm just taking a look at these 5, and then well, actually, I took a look at BTC, ADA, ETH. Oh, I did take a look at these 5. So Link's the last one. Chainlink is. Ooh. If it can't turn around here, there's your chance where it might get down to here. And it really, like that's $10. There's a difference between buying now and buying here. It's a huge difference because from here to here is 100%. Like so, realistically, there's a big difference between buying up here and buying here. Because when it goes back up, this is 100% already. So, and there's different things you can do, like just all the twin buying or twin like buying multiple orders, like putting half your money here and putting half your money here, and then literally once it gets up to here, A, you just made back what you lost from here down. Then B, if you sell that and then when it comes back up, you're now looking for it to continue going back up, but you already made what you would have lost, and then you can continue. So it's like you lost nothing. So that's one way to do it. But like with Chainlink's another great project that is doing things. Like you wanna be looking at this. Let's add Solana to this list. Solana is one of those tokens that I would suggest that everyone keeps on looking at. And by look at, I mean also like purchase some. But the real question of it is, well, you can see it. Are we going to protect this 50% 618, or are we going to start venturing into this 786, 886? You can see I've been looking at Solana since like underneath here. I actually saw Solana down here. I'm old enough in crypto to be seeing it all here. So yeah, Solana is another one that you can look at and be like, should I buy it? Should I not? It's up to you. Another one, KDA. Another coin that I really like, Cadenia. And we're right in the buying area. So what do? You buy, right? You're in the buying area. And you can see like this went from, we got in at 26 cents. Originally, that's when I put it on everyone's radar, and it shot to $28. I'm looking for it again in this area, right? Because for me, like I was looking for at least this, even if it hits $80. Look where it's currently at. Still give you 1,000%. There's lots of room to get out, right? And I'm not saying to go ham and put like your entire life savings in, but these are just areas you can look at, right? And one more off the top of my head. Oh, you know what? XRP. Because XRP was dealing with a court hearing, and there were some things that came out with that court hearing. XRP is currently at 78 cents. See it going down. Over under relationship. So the question is this over under relationship down? We'll see. Like which trend should you follow? But XRP is another one. I honestly think XRP is being held back because of the court case. And it's kind of just, this is a 786-886 of, I'm pretty sure, of this move. So, and if it ends up being at 60 cents again, you buy it. And especially if you're in the States, just buy it. XRP is going to be a great coin. I'm not trying to shill it or anything, but I think it has a lot of work to do. Like it has a lot of things it can do. So buying it wouldn't hurt too bad. H bar. This top 10 is now becoming like a top H bar. Oh wow. LeBron drained a jumper for the win. If you were not watching the All-Star game. I just ruined the ending. All right, so yeah, H bar, other thing. See that? 50%, 618. Same thing. So like when you're looking at this, like when you're looking at these coins, you have to now wonder, like, okay, should I buy it here? Well, you can wait until it shows you that can get above this 50, because there's a big difference between being below the 50 EMA and being above. Like, look at this. It gets above the 50 EMA once, and then whoop, right? So, and right now, like as for these, because these are all spot, I would say waiting for them to get above the 50 day EMA on the daily is your safest play. Like safest play, right? Because without that, you're just taking a risk. And there's nothing wrong with taking the risk of buying before, but there is a big difference between buying like that's like the indicator, like close above the 50 EMA on the daily, and it can run for a couple days. Like, so like if you just bought, let's say you bought ETH, right? You're like, I really want to buy it, and you just waited till July 30th, so 10 days. Yes, you lost. You missed out on from 1,700 to 2,000. You missed out on that, right? But you were guaranteed 100%, because you could have bought it here, right? But if you bought here, that's 37%, but then it came back down, right? And what if it just kept on going down? Because look at this right here. You bought here, thinking you're good, 48%, and then it goes down here. And this is where, like, oftentimes people are like looking at it like, oh, I'm going to sell it. I can't, like, it's not going up anymore, right? Like this is This is all investing purposes. Like investing is about timing. And so for me, the timing that I look for is the daily and that 50 EMA. The moment it crosses it on the daily, like you're good to throw as much money as you want into it. Right? Look, like 50 EMA for Bitcoin. Whoop. Right? Even like Bitcoin, like if you want to do it like a large one, like a large investment from here, even Bitcoin gave you 85%. All right. So at this point here, I don't think that's true. Solana under the 50 EMA, KDA under the 50 EMA, and XRP is under the 50 EMA. Oh, XRP is above the 50 EMA. So if it can hold the 50 EMA on the daily, look what happens. Whoop. Right? So that's the sound effects of your money going up in crypto. Whoop. 378%. I'll show you another one. 237%. Like it's the 50 EMA in crypto is really weird, the relationship. But what I'm looking for is I'm looking for this type of movement. It's like, see how bullish this is, or see how parabolic this is? I'm looking for this because this is unnatural. This is what you're looking for. This is what I'm waiting for in crypto. This is the blow off top that I'm waiting for. But I'm looking for that type of move where it's 1,300% in like not even 30 days. Like, and most of you guys, that's what everyone's going to remember about the bull run, which is these types of moves. 25 days, 1,300%. But like, no one's going to think about all this where you bought in and it was like, oh, is he or is he not? Right? Drama. Anyways, guys, that's it. That was a lot of sauce. This was recorded, at least most of it was recorded. Make sure you guys get on like Top Shot, check out that stuff. And then make sure you guys are looking at, especially for investing purposes, like like for me personally, utilizing this is a great strategy. I learned it from my mentor, Crypto Picasso, and it's straightforward. Use the 50 EMA to your advantage for investing purposes. Wait on the daily. Don't even have to go to a time frame. And you have one thing to do. If it closes above the 50 EMA, if it breaks, closes above the 50 EMA, buy it. And now if you really want to understand in terms of how far I hold it for, like this is 100%. Right? If you put 10 racks in, you get 20. I don't know what it is that you want. I don't know what your end result is. If you put $100 in, you get 200. Like there's a lot of plays to double your money. Now, if you're looking for that life-changing money, then XRP is not it, right? It's good for doubling your money or even 5xing your money. But if you're looking for a 20 or 30x, it may give it to you. Well, at this point, you're looking to hit a grand slam, and those are rare. So look for your singles, because a lot of singles equals a grand slam. All right, guys, that is it. Hopefully you guys got some stuff. VeChain. Oh, I can always add VeChain. VeChain. This is one last one for the road. I like this one. VeChain's another one. So same thing. VeChain right now is below your 50 EMA. Now it is, like, personally, I think VeChain's a great coin and like everyone should be having it. And it's also in your 50%. So if not 786, 886. I wouldn't look for it to drop below here, but it could come down to 3 cents. If it comes down to 3 cents, you buy it. Well, I'll buy it. An alert there. If it breaks above the 6 cents, that means it's gonna break that 50 EMA. At that point, same thing. You're looking for it to continue going up and potentially making you all-time highs, right? Getting into like VeChain to $1 is still real and it could happen. Like it's not outlandish, but literally the entire market would have to be a bull run. And VeChain going to $1 could happen. I'll show you what that looks like. VeChain to $1. And it's like, why can this happen? And XRP not hitting $14. It's based off of where VeChain is at currently and how the market cap is to the circulating supply. So like some things are better positioned than others. So like you get 1800% here because it just needs to go to $1. But as XRP is at 79 cents, in order to get that same 1800%, you need it to go up to like almost $14, $15. So the question is, which one do you believe in more? VeChain to $1 or XRP to $15? And that's how you make that critical decisions, critical thinking, right? That's how I make every decisions in terms of investing. How can I make a larger how can I make a larger percent? Or where can I make a larger percent? Cadena getting to potentially a $78. Do I believe in this? Do I believe in this more? This is 1300, or little VeChain getting to $1. All right, and you don't have to. That's what you have to pay attention to everything. You have to pay attention to the right things. This is very possible. So is Cadena, but this is also possible too. And now it's timing. Which one's going to do it first? And these are other things, but I'll talk about that more next week. Anyways, guys, that's it for today. Hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully you guys, there was some sauce being dropped. You guys can check it out. Check the recording on my YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and do all that good stuff. Pass it on to a friend, share it, like it, all that good stuff. And I will see you guys on the next call. Take it easy.